Okay, welcome to today's webinar on pledge cards. This is part of our week-long series for United Way Conference Week. We're going to knock this one out in 30 minutes. Please ask questions as we go through. Well, I skipped a screen even. Wow, really in a hurry. No, well, let me go back. Well, so the presenters today are Allison and Emily. I can't seem to go back. And that's the screen we missed. So I'm Allison James. I am presenting here with Emily Bowen. Say hello, Emily.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. And she's going to help me with questions. I'm going to run the screen. Not very well, but I will run it. And here we go. So what's our agenda today? I'm going to have you guys do a text to a pledge card just for the fun of it, but our conversation today is around pledge cards. Tomorrow's presentation's on texting, but something that's been really interesting has been that as people are starting to use more and more pledge cards through our website system, they have decided that, wow, isn't it kind of cool if you're in a kickoff room and you tell everyone, hey, text this to this number, and they're filling out their pledge cards on their phone. So for kicks and giggles, we are going to do that as well today, which will lead us to the pledge card page on our website system. I'll show you some stuff about setting up pledge cards, how that can operate, how the reporting works, and answer your questions, because this becomes a time when people are like, how can I do this and how can I do that? So looked through, saw some questions you guys had in there before the webinar started, so I will address them. And then we got some tips and questions, and that's kind of it in a nutshell. So let's do the texting thing to kick this off, and then we're going to spend the rest of the time on the websites. So grab your smartphone. Hopefully you got a smart one. And you are doing a text to the number 313131. The message that you're texting is UW. Don't let it autocorrect to United Way, or don't let it autocorrect to US. Let it be UW and hit send. You will get a link back on your phone, which will be a link that you can click that will take you to a pledge card. So I'm giving everyone a second to do this before I move my screen. Grab your phone. The number you're texting to is 313131. You might have used it before, especially if you've been in a webinar of mine. And put in UW and hit send. You guys getting it? So let's go take a look at what that looks like. Maneuver screens. Come on, Allison. You can do it. Maybe not. There we go. All right. So when you did that texting exercise, or even if you didn't, this is the particular pledge card that I had that one synced to. So thinking through your scenario on pledging and pledge cards, and as I mentioned in that case, you're in a room, you moved them in the moment, you say, hey, text it and do your pledge card on your phone. I will tell you that this is actually kind of a long pledge card to be doing on my phone, but it could be a pledge card. It could be one that you just do on your website as well. The cool thing about our pledge card system is you can customize it. You can ask whatever questions you want, and you can change it by employer. So the school needs to know school location, the manufacturing company needs employee ID number, and another place needs to know location code, whatever. You can add those fields and questions in per employer. You can change pay period options out per employer. And, you know, maybe they have a special leadership thing at their location that they do, or a giveaway that they're doing. You can even do the registrations for the giveaway in it. You can do whatever you want. You can add in custom questions such as designations, or not do designations. Keep it simple, keep it long. This is completely up to you as to how you go about deciding that you want your pledge card to be on your site. Now, this particular pledge card is a payroll deduction form. It is set up to be a payroll deduction form to come out of my paycheck X amount of time versus a credit card contribution or a billing situation. This is set up that you would pull this report from the back end of the website, give it to the employer for them to put into their payroll system for their employee contributions. Now, why do it this way? Why not do the paper way, or why not use another system? So here are your decision-making points. One of the great things about having your pledge card on your website is it's driving people to your website, quite poignantly, actually, and they might click around and want to know, who am I giving money to, and let me find out more about this organization. Maybe I even want to volunteer. So it does do that in a nutshell. The other is you are now in control. And I don't know about you, but I love being in control of things. So in this case, I'm pulling the report. I've got the data. I'm capturing them in the back end. They're actually data entering into my system already, and I can export that data and possibly even save myself from having to key pledges later into my system. If I use, say, Donation Tracker and I pay for their smart import system, which does cost, we have some who will take the data and then it imports into another platform and they're not keying it. It just depends on how much you're using it and what you want to do with it. But it certainly can put you in control of the data and the information. So this is an example here. So I want to show you a few things about how you would go ahead setting that up, or what you might consider doing. If you are not currently using payroll deduction forms on your website and you're interested in it, our team can. Now, if you've come in new, you might check your website. Some of the websites already have pledge cards actually saved in the system for you. And we are using the event module, CiviCRM Events. We repurposed it, yes, for the pledge cards because it's not a contribution. They're not giving money in the moment. So we're actually used the events setup to build it. And so here's an example of one that was built. I'm logged in here and you'll see it as event and its ID number, etc. So this is our simple payroll deduction form. And honestly, if you're going to have them texting in and doing it, simple is better. When it comes to the custom questions, such as employer ID number and designations and allocations and anonymous and stuff, everyone does those a little different. So our default payroll deduction form that we can clone for you into your website looks like this. It just has the general first name, last name, address, postal information, amount per pay period, other, and then the pay period option for them to register. So if you're interested in getting a leg up on that, our team can help you with putting this one in place. How is this built? How is a pledge card built? Now, you're welcome to go out there and build them yourself within your system. You would come out here and create an event. Build the event in here. I'll show this one right here. You can put some basic information in it in your event. You would not use fees because for a pledge card, there is no money transacting. You simply are going to have your online registration, or what we call your profile. And so when it comes to a profile and building a profile, if you haven't built any profiles in here before, most of the profile fields that are coming with this pledge card are default profile fields that exist in the system. First name, last name, email, phone, city, street address, city, state, and postal code. All are standard fields that are already built in our system. You might have to go build some custom fields, and we'll get you started with a few custom fields. So amount per pay period, no, not a default field in our system. An other amount and my pay period is. So these have to be built as custom fields. So I'm just going into a little bit of nitty gritty on here, and I know some of you are like, whoa, this is deeper than I've ever been in CiviCRM before. Hold on tight. It's a short journey. We're not riding a long ride here, but we do have the ability in the system to create any kind of custom fields. And this is just good to know in general. You have an event, you have a donation page, and you want to ask something else. If your standard donation page is just standard and you're like, man, I really want to know if they want to give it to this disaster that happened, and I want that a checkbox asking that, or I want to know if they have any questions or comments. Custom fields can always be built in the system, and we have videos and training out there that you can access and learn how to do that stuff. So I'm not going to dig into actually building custom fields. Just want you to know that that custom field stuff is there. So I'm not seeing a lot of questions pop in, and usually means I'm overwhelming. So let me take a step back. I do want to show you a sample of someone who's using this, United Way of Central Kentucky. So Brighter Futures is an employer. I discovered that a lot of people were looking at that thinking it was an agency. It's not an agency, it's an employer. So let's take a look at the page they had set up. So this is kind of an idea you might do with pledge cards on your site. This is an event page that they go to do their pledge for their payroll deduction. And you will have us submit a ticket to our team, and we'll change it from that long Civi event URL to /Brighter Futures to the employer. And you might have a special background picture for them too. So if you have one of these designs in Civi CRM that have the big background, you can have a different background picture for every employer that's out there. And you can customize the page, put their logo on it, picture their messaging, put your video if you want. Now here's something you will see on some of our online pledge cards is to have that option to donate by credit card. So something that does happen when you build your pledge card online, you're used to that paper pledge card that they mark, pay by check, pay by credit card, payroll deduction, it's all on one form. In this case, what we're going to do is encourage you to set your credit card contribution up as a contribution page for them to do that transaction in the moment. So if I click donate by credit card, so for each employer, you quite possibly are building two forms, one for the actual payroll deduction pledge card and one for the credit card transactions. The credit card transactions, like if you use Stripe, you can have it set up with ACH and set it up as recurring every month. And select the option that they're donating for. So you'll even see in here, and this is something to note within our Civi CRM system, this is a picture. You can drop pictures into the pledge cards. You can have a link to all your funded partners or your agencies for people to click, and then it opens a tab if you're giving them the ability to designate, so here's the list, and here's who we're helping in our community. So all of that can be configured to make this a real good user experience. And then you're going to pull off the reporting in the back end. Now, I had a question as we went into today's workshop that someone said, okay, our biggest employer is not doing payroll deductions anymore. So we want the option basically to do this, to do recurring credit card or ACH transactions. I do have my team looking at if there is a way for us to configure this to not start till, say, January 1st, which I'm still waiting for some responses on. But you definitely can set up someone to do the recurring amount every month, every week, every couple of weeks. So those different settings can be put in here. And that is often what we find our United Ways are doing when they have an employer say they won't do payroll deductions anymore. They still do a campaign with them, hopefully, but this time around they're going to ask them to set up recurring contributions. One of the beauties of recurring contributions with credit cards is if they leave their job, you still got them. And people will keep them going. You have an option to do something like this where it's going to be 12 installments, it's going to stop after a year. That's fine. But even more so, we see United Ways who just leave it running because they hear from people who are giving to them that they don't want to have to do it every year. They just want it to keep running until they tell them to stop. Of course, then you're not getting them to up the dollars. So there's a give and take there. They might not do it again next year, or they might do it again next year and they might up their dollars. You know, which way is better? This is decisions for you to make in your process of campaign, and you can decide it, but there are choices that you have as you build it. There's got to be questions out there. Emily, what's happened to my question people? Why is nobody asking questions?
I think that we're scaring them. Joking.
Am I going too fast?
Well, only they can tell you that. Unfortunately, you're going just fine for me, but I also know a lot of this stuff. So again, guys, feel free if you have any questions about even something that you guys are interested in doing there as well. That'd be great. Christina's right. Because y'all, you guys are really smart. That's why you don't have questions. You already know all of it.
No, because they're smart. No, they're just soaking it all in. All right, so let me show you the a little bit on the reporting side of it, because that's definitely the part that I have people going, okay, so if people fill out their pledge cards through my website, what do I do with it? This is where it gets actually pretty cool. Our report system, if you're not using reports in Civi CRM, I encourage you to, because this has improved a lot in like the last year or so, and our old method was a lot more involved. Now what we typically will do is go to reports, and in this case it's an event report because it's for pledge cards, and set up an event participant list. So what you're going to do with this is you can build a report, and I often will put reports I build in this top black bar to make it easy to find. But you're going to build a report based on this event. We don't need the event name. You might want this. No, we don't need the status. And they're not paying anything. So we have their participant name automatically comes in. We can get their email, their phone number. You can do their address and all that good stuff. I'll put some of that in there. Da, 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 da. And what you really need is you need those pledge card questions. Which one is it? It would be this one in this case. I know I don't have anyone out here who's filled one out, so no data is going to come in. But if you pull the fields you want, it will pull that information out. Let's check one that should have something. Let's try something. I'm pretty sure I have some samples data in here. So you can filter the report by the employer. Nobody, there's one. Okay, so you can come out here then and filter it by whichever pledge card you have, which is going to be the event. So you can select the particular pledge card that you're looking for. You can clone the report for the next one, so then you select it for the next employer, and you're able to pull this stuff off. The cool thing in the back end of this is as you're starting to do these events, you're going to find out that you have multiple people repeating. So no data in there. Okay, sorry. But the report can be set up easy to use. So here's things to remember as you're looking at this. If you're thinking, yeah, we need to do the pledge cards through our website. One, you can submit a request to our team to have a cloned pledge card added to your website if you don't have one already. Two, ask us questions if you need some help with how to configure this and how to set it up. You can set up some time with Emily or myself to take a look at it. But ultimately, our goal is to teach you guys how to do it. So we want you to learn how to come out and make those custom fields and build these forms and clone these forms and use these forms on a regular basis. You submit tickets for special URLs for each of the pages, and there you go. So if I come out here and I look at all of the pledge cards that have been created, which is this one here, we are going to do more, maybe, and you create a copy. So once you get the one you like, you hit copy, and you keep hitting copy, and you make it for this business and for this business, and give everyone their own so you can pull their data separate. So hopefully that all makes sense. All right, so I'm seeing now that questions are popping in. What do we got, Emily?
We had Denise was asking about how the company receives the deduction information, but that looks like we kind of just went over that.
So you pull the report, and you will export the report as a CSV file and give it to them. Most companies will find, where's my reports? Most companies will find that when that they use CSV files, or it could be an Excel file, and then they can import it into their system. So yeah, you pull the report. Keep going. What else we got?
Is there a generic link to send to each employee at the workplace to get them to this created form?
So this is the concept of what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get your page built, and you're going to want to create, see this URL up here? So your website address / organization name. That is what I recommend. You could have that go to an actual landing page first and not straight to the pledge card. We see that sometimes where it goes to a landing page, and you maybe have a message from the CEO, and it's just a really basic page on your website, and then there's a link, pledge card link, credit card contribution, maybe a link for Bill Me or something like that. You could set up different links, and they can go to separate pages. But in today's crazy world, we try and keep our clicks to a minimum. So unless you need a landing page with a lot of stuff, they actually took things that might have been on a landing page and just put it at the top of the pledge card. Put the logo and the picture and the words. That could be a landing page, but why? We're going to go straight here. So the link that you would be giving your employer is the link that you're going to generate in your process of creating your pledge card. So as you get your pledge cards created for each of your employers, you'll put in a request to our team to have a special URL for that page so that you can turn around and give that URL to your employers and they can put it out in their workforce. That answer that. What else?
That's it so far. Everything else.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, let me go back to my PowerPoint, and I just have my closing out tips to go over. And that, my friends, is a 30-minute rendition of pledge cards. All right, here we go. Tips. I don't think they're pulling in order. Set up a master pledge card. That's what you want first. You want to build it with all of the right questions that you're going to want is general. Now you might switch it up for each employer. That's possible. But go ahead and get your master one set up. We can clone you that simple basic one if you need one to get started, or check your site. You might already have one in place and you just don't know it. Go to your Civi CRM, look under Manage Events and see if there's a pledge card there. And then once you have your master pledge card, you can start building new ones. So yes, use Civi CRM to create pledge cards. That is our recommendation for the best tool for those. Copy the pledge cards. Now you could just have one pledge card and have a drop down, they pick employer, and then you sort it afterwards. But that can get a little messy. It's nice to be able to give each employer their own list. It's a little bit more legwork on you to keep cloning them and making different pledge cards for different employers, but ultimately it's about the end user experience and them being able to easily give to the right organization and you not to have problems with sorting the data. Set up custom reporting. So once you get your pledge card set up, what you want to do is fill out a couple so that you have some fake data to work with, and then go into our reporting setup and see if you can't build yourself a custom report and save it for yourself. If you have questions on the reporting, just let us know. Oh, I clicked the link. I hadn't done that in a while there, Miss Emily.
It was bound to happen. Just saying, it's bound to happen.
So I clicked the hyperlink there. I just need to unhyperlink them. This really would be the smarter solution.
But I did have mine.
So use support. So support.oneeach.com. They are there as a resource to you, and they will help you answer your questions if you're trying to get a basic pledge card cloned. I know those requests are going to start coming in, and I will give us a couple days on those because we're still going through a new process on how to go about getting them in place. And then lastly, if you watch this and you went, oh gosh, that was just over my head and I'm not comfortable with that stuff whatsoever, but I do want pledge cards, by site maintenance, just let us do it. Just send us the stuff and say, okay, here's what my pledge card looks like. This is what I want. I need one for this employer group and this employer group. I need credit card. I need this. These are the questions to ask. And I'm going to pay you on each to do it. Buy some site maintenance time. It's $50 per hour. I'd recommend buying at least a couple hours so that we can take our time and build your cards and get it set up the way you want and have a little bit of back and forth with you if there's any corrections as we go through and build them. And then we could even build your reports for you too. So you might just want to go that route, at least to get your full master one in place. That might be something you want to do as well. Okay, and then this is my last slide. Did I go short? Wow. So I'm Allison and Emily. There's our names. I'm Allison and Emily Bowen's here with me. Of course, our support team is here to help you as well. We are happy to answer any questions you have about pledge cards and pledging. Just let us know. What do we got, Emily? What closing words do we have? What questions do we got?
Well, we don't have any questions as of yet, so still feel free to send those in, guys, since we did run a little short. And the only other tip that I would also add is once you've set up that pledge card, before you actually send it out to an employer or to have anybody fill that out, make sure that you are testing out that pledge card yourself when you're logged out of your site, so that way you know what that user experience is for people who maybe have never come to your site. So again, always test those things out, but if you're contacting Allison and I, we are definitely going to test that out as well for you. So.
We are. All right. Well, we do have a few more sessions this week. I think I saw tomorrow's testing, and Thursday's about all of our vendor relationships, and Friday will be my best practices workshop, where I will just have my screen lined up with cool things our customers are doing, and I will click through and show you a whole bunch of samples of what people do with the system. And I always think those are interesting. So if you'd like to check that out, that one's Friday. Thursday's vendor stuff, Stripe. I will, on Thursday, I will be going into some Google Analytics. So if anyone's still like, I know I have it, I don't know what to do with it, you might want to check that out, because I'll talk about Google Analytics at that. And tomorrow I'm doing the texting stuff. So thank you guys. Have a great day. We will send out this recording. And thank you all very much. Thank you, Miss Emily.
Thank you, Allison. Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.